Hey, PSTAT, continuing on with section 5.3, we're going to add in a general multiplication rule now. So here with an example, about 55% of all high school students participate in a school athletic team. And then we also know that roughly 6% of these athletes go on to play on a college team in the NCAA. What percent of high school students play a sport in high school and go on to play on an NCAA team? So basically, of those 55%, 6% of them go on to play NCAA. So this 55% start in the first place. Basically, it's 6% of the 55%. If you multiply those, so 0.06 times 0.55, you get roughly 3%. So 3.3% is what it works out to be. So kind of putting that in some other symbols and so on. We ultimately want to know what's the probability that they play a high school sport and then play on an NCAA team. We can multiply the probability that they played a high school sport, those 55%, times the percent that would go on to play on an NCAA team, given that they were in a high school sport, and get that that's a 0.033% chance. And that's our general multiplication rule. So our general multiplication rule looks like this. Remember, we had a general addition rule, which was for or. Well, this one's for and. For or, we could add a plus b and subtract the intersection. That was one of our big rules from this chapter. Here's the other one, the general multiplication rule. So for any chance process, the probability that events A and B both occur can be found using this probability. The probability of A and B is equal to the probability of A and B. Or sorry, that's the notation. Is equal to the probability of A times the probability of B given A. We can multiply those up. So, for example, the Pew Internet and American Life Project reported that 79% of teenagers ages 13 to 17 use social media, and that 39% of teens who use social media, so given that they use social media, feel pressure to post content that will be popular and get lots of comments or likes. So find the probability that a randomly selected teen uses social media and feels pressure to post content that will be popular and get lots of comments or likes. So what we want to do is we kind of want to simplify this down into maybe just words, maybe even symbols. All right, so we want to go, ultimately we want to know probably they use social media and feel pressure. So that, summarize it that way. And so what we can do is we can multiply the probability that they use social media, which is that 79%, times feel pressure, and that's of the people who use social media, so that 39%. So given that of is another way kind of saying given 39% of the 79%, and ultimately we can get to the 30% or 31% that are in both categories. So that's the general multiplication rule. In the next section, we'll move into another application of the multiplication rule, like if, when the conditional doesn't matter. So that is the first part of 5.3.